we've been at the chapel for about 3 years.
So, coming to faith, my story is kind of in two parts. I grew up in a church near my childhood home in Coshocton County, and I was very involved in the youth activities and even district leadership events I would go to. But I became kind of disillusioned with individuals in the church and kind of fell away. And I didn't attend church for a very long time until actually we ended up at the chapel. And after just a couple of weeks, it was, my faith was refreshed. I don't think I ever lost it in that period, but it just was hiding. So I forgot to find it again.
Yeah, and mine is very, very similar. I grew up, my earliest memory of the church was in a Presbyterian church in Reynoldsburg. It's where I was baptized. It's where I learned the Lord's Prayer. It's where I learned the doxologies. And so it was an important part of my very young life. But as I grew, got into my early 20s, and just kind of left, and I was just doing my thing, working, trying to find my place in the world, until a few years later I had a family, and thought it was important to raise my family in the church, so we returned to church, and life happens, and got away from that even, and it really wasn't till around the pandemic, before the pandemic, really started looking to get back into a church. I was home, I was still reading, still praying, watching. During the pandemic, everybody put most people their services online, and I actually thought maybe I could just read the Bible and do church at home, which is great until you run into passages like Hebrews 10, and they tell you that's not acceptable. So so it doesn't work. But anyway, as far as how we got to the chapel, a friend of mine who I'd been meeting with just about every Wednesday morning for years, he had moved back to Alabama. That's where he's from, for work, and he had returned to Coshocton for work for the same company, to want to come and watch one of my sons play soccer. So we're talking there, and he asked me if I'd found a church yet, and I, expressed my frustrations. It's just very difficult where we are, and he's from Alabama, and he's a PCA guy, so he knows absolutely everything about everything, and so he said, "Have you tried this Granville Chapel out?" And so we did. We tried it out. We both came, and we may have wished one Sunday since then, 3 years ago. I mean, we just never left. I get asked a lot why we drive so far.
A lot.
a lot. And typically I would tell somebody, don't drive past a good church to get to a great church. We should try to be in a church that you can be involved in. I don't know. I think the shortest answer is that there just isn't.
There isn't anything like the chapel in
Right.
our area.
Yeah, there isn't. I guess that's true.
Yeah.
There isn't.
I enjoy, obviously the sermons and the music and the people are good. It's nice to be in a group of people worshiping together and knowing that they care about you. It's a unique group of individuals that make up the church at the chapel.
Yeah, and what's unique to me is, I don't know. I just remember the first time we visited. I had watched expository preaching online. I'd heard it a couple times, but that first Sunday we came, we opened up with a song together. We opened up with confession. We confessed together. We gave thanks, and then we heard God's word just laid bare. It was just God's word, and it wasn't just God's word. It was something very powerful about hearing passages, reading through passages that you've read through. Probably I'd read through several times, a lot of, and just to hear it and to that depth, to where there's the context that it's in. There's this is what it really says, and this is what it really means. And to tie that up with, we all come together every Sunday to take communion. That was a very powerful image for me, just seeing everyone, from all different walks of life coming up to the table. And every Sunday hearing the gospel. I know that if I bring my kids, if I bring my friends, they're going to hear the gospel, and they're just going to see something that's really beautiful. I think there's a great need for more Reformed churches. There's a hunger for it. I talk to people even in our town who would, it's just too far of a drive for them. But I talked to people in our town who grew up. They grew up in a church similar to ours. There was a time when our church wasn't that unusual. But the culture has a lot of times invaded the church and taken it over and taken it away from that, just the beauty of real worship. And that's, I know people are hungry for it, and I know it's something that people need in their life. I don't really think man's good ideas are going to get you far. I know just being able to worship God, just to hear the gospel, it is life-changing, and that's needed everywhere.
I'm very fortunate that the women's ministry is so strong at the chapel. I think we were attending for maybe 3 weeks before I was personally invited to attend one of the ladies' gatherings at one of our members' homes. And so I went to this house of somebody I'd never actually met before and got to know a group of ladies that I've never really met before, and they welcomed me with open arms, and we had a great time just visiting and getting to know each other. And since then we've had that ability to, regularly get together and Bible studies. Some of the ladies do a painting group sometimes and just get together and make crafts. We do ladies' teas, and it's just really great.
You guys do a lot.
We do a lot. It's fun.
Yeah, for me, it's the same. It's the people, how they touched our lives. I mean, I don't know. They're just them. We barely get out of the sanctuary. We're typically, not because we want to, but typically, yeah. I don't know. It's just an engaging, welcoming group of people. A couple times that they touched our lives. One time we broke down. And in reality, we're 50 miles from home, right? So you shouldn't be stranded. But it wasn't 10 minutes. We had an army of people that were helping us get our car back on the road, and almost had like a little party on the side of the road. So it wasn't unfun. It wasn't a bad time.
No, it wasn't terrible. It worked out.
That and just most recently, Megan directed a play, and I helped for our high school, which is also miles from here. Okay. But to look out in the audience and see members of our church just sitting there beaming and encouraging.
To come and support a group of high school kids that they've never even met.
Yeah.
They just know that I love them, and so they do. It's just kind of amazing to have that support.
Yeah.
excited for the chapel's future, that we will have, once we get our future building, wherever that may be, that we would have more space and more use of the space. And know that it would be wonderful if we could have Sunday school to, be able to have a group before church or after church or whatever and study more in depth. It'd be nice to be able to have meetings at the church through the week without having to worry about, scheduling and location.
What I think is exciting is as it grows, the ministry grows, people grow. We'll have I'll be able to invite people, and they'll have room. I'll be able to fill up a van full of people in Coshocton and drive them down. That'll be great. But I'm just excited for just what it's going to do in not just this community, but I'm excited for the growth in this area, because I know eventually this is the beginning of not just one church, but hopefully more in our area. So that I'm excited. That's what I'm excited for. I'm excited for leaving something behind that my grandkids hopefully will come to.